Enthusiastic, exciting, energy. These are just some of the words to describe the atmosphere at the DNC this past week. But what was it like to be in the room? What was it like to experience the speeches? And what was it like to be behind the scenes? It's Stay the Water. I'm your host, Dr. Eric Claville, and you're joining us for In the Room, an interview from the DNC convention from a delegate. We'll be right back in just a moment. Welcome back. It's Stay the Water. I'm your host, Dr. Eric Claville. As always, we thank you for joining us on this beautiful Sunday, as you always do, as we broadcast from the campus of the Norfolk State University, home of the Spartan Nation, from none other than WNSB Hot 91, the soul of VA. Well, school is in full swing here in Spartan Nation, and I know that school is in across the country in higher ed institutions. So we're off to a great year. Hopefully you're enjoying yourself and things are going as planned. Well, one thing about 2024, it's an election year. And we've got a great election right now. Now that both conventions are over, the DNC and the RNC, it's campaign time and it's vote time. So for those of you that may have watched the RNC last month, the DNC had their convention last week. It was star-studded. It was a lot of energy, a lot of excitement, a lot of people enthusiastic about this candidate and this ticket. Well, I've got a good friend here who's also a mighty Spartan himself, who was in the room and as a delegate here at the DNC in Chicago, none other than Jasper Hendricks, NSU alum. How are you doing this morning?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. Hello, fellow Spartans.
Absolutely. Well, look, Jasper is he's a friend. He's no stranger to NSU nor to WNSB, a good friend of myself, and who has a long history in politics here at the university. As a matter of fact, Jasper and I, we talk all the time, and he tells me about how he and Delegate King were some of the first legislative interns on Capitol Hill in Richmond under the former president, Marie McDiarmid, who also, again, rested in peace, great president, visionary of our institution. But Jasper, you haven't stopped there.
I would like to add that because Delegate King, I work with Delegate King. She created legislation last year to create the Senator Yvonne B. Miller Scholars Fellowship Program so that Norfolk State students can go and do the work like we did in Richmond, over 20 years ago, to give young people an experience, and what it's like being, there at ground zero, so to speak, but to also allow you to have a stipend so that you can live, so that you can afford to be in Richmond during that time. So so it's great. I love the fact that we have the opportunity to help, some of the younger generation to get involved like we did under Dr. McDiarmid. So I'm looking forward to the creation of that program and working with the university because we got state money for it. So we're ready.
Absolutely.
To make it happen.
Absolutely. And look, we appreciate the work of Delegate King and yourself for not just throwing it back, but also pulling it forward, bringing other NSU Spartans forward to walk in your footsteps. So Jasper, I want to get right into it. What are you up to these days, and how did you get to Chicago?
Well, I'm the chief of staff to the House Minority Leader in Tennessee. So I work in the Tennessee legislature at the Capitol full time. I'm also run an organization called the Black Legislative Leaders Network, which is an organization that works with Black speakers of houses and Senate presidents and majority leaders and minority leaders across the country. And I do political commentary on the local Fox channel there in Nashville, and chair of the board of Mom Congress, which works on improving maternal health care, particularly for Black moms. And so how I became a delegate was, I ran in my congressional district. So, the Democratic Party has several ways that you can become a delegate. You could be a high-ranking elected official, that's one way, or you could be a grassroots supporter, such as myself, in which that, you have to get your local party to vote for you to be to go to your congressional district, and then once you're at your congressional district, then you have to sort of encourage your congressional district, or convince your fellow congressional district members to vote for you to represent them. So I am one of the representatives from the 7th Congressional District of Tennessee, which includes parts of Nashville, Davidson County, where I live.
But listen, don't let Jasper fool you out there. He's done more than that. That's just what he's doing now. But I mean, he's pretty much held every position behind the scenes in politics that you can actually hold, and still doing great things and moving the needle. So let's talk Chicago. Home of the Windy City, home of the Obamas, and now it is in the books, and Vice President Harris is now the official nominee to be official nominee of the Democratic Party, running for president of the United States. Jasper, one thing that I heard a lot of people talk about, especially after the Obama speech, was, look, Barack should have went first because Michelle brought the house down. How was the energy that night? Because there was also the ceremonial night of all of the representatives, like you said, delegates casting their vote for the now nominee.
Yeah, I mean, it was an exciting night. It was exciting. The whole convention, is exciting. It's about bringing joy back to people. In 2008, we heard a lot about hope. Right. And as the former First Lady, Michelle Obama, said, hope is making a comeback. But hope is making a comeback through joy, because that's what the Vice President Kamala Harris brings to the table is joy. It is about, providing for people and getting that joy from helping others. But, it's about the joy of making sure that everyone has a seat at the table. Because when the least of these, are helped and impacted, through our work, that helps everyone. And so it makes sure that, everyone can smile and laugh, and that's what we saw through the convention, from this week, is a lot of energy. There's a lot, we have a little over 70 days, left to elect her as our next president. And we have to keep people energized and ready to go. I attended Senator Lucas's event that she had here in Chicago. And she said, we have to bottle this energy up. And we have to, take it back home, and make sure that everyone goes out to vote. We have to make sure that everyone is registered to vote, and they're registered to vote in the proper places so that way there are no challenges. So, we've seen, people from Little John to Anthony Hamilton to Wendell Pierce and to Spike Lee, here at the convention, John Legend, at my event that I held, it was Yolanda Ross from The Chi came in. So we're ready. We're ready to hit the ground running. I got to take a nap. I think throughout the convention, my average sleep has been about 2.5 to 3 hours of sleep each night. Because as you guys see on TV, we haven't finished before 11 o'clock, and then there's, after events and, and all of that. So there's a lot of excitement, but we got to take this energy to the ground.
Absolutely. So when you talk about the events that take place, we want to talk Virginia, because this show is about the state of the water, the state of politics, the state of the economy, the state of the people. Virginia was well represented. It was a proud moment when I saw Congressman Bobby Scott, of course, Senator Mark Warner, take the mic and really, give Virginia its place in this point in history. But also surrounding him were those black women. Senator Lucas, you mentioned, who's NSU alum two times over, who is our keynote speaker for our Founders Day and Grand Marshal for our parade, a homecoming parade. Not only that, but you had Senator Mamie Locke, who has also been a champion in in Richmond, but also in the city of Hampton as the first African-American female mayor of the city of Hampton. And then you had next to her Congresswoman Jennifer McClellan, the first African-American woman as a U.S. Congresswoman from the Commonwealth of Virginia. Jasper, surrounded by all this history, by all of these women, it showed how Virginia is moving forward. Tell us about how deep Virginia is there, the events that are going on with Virginia, and what's coming out of there.
Now, I don't want to brag, but
Go ahead.
I am at Tennessee. I'm in Tennessee right now, and our seat is a little bit in front of them. Virginia delegation, but we're very, very close. And so, but it's been great to reconnect with so many people. I mean, you have Jewel, who is Jewel Gatlin, who is an NSU alum.
Yes.
She's a delegate as well. Maurice Hawkins is a delegate also, who is Norfolk State alumni as well. So Norfolk State is represented here at this conference. Actually, the Senate President Pro Tem of Nevada, Pat Spearman, NSU alum, is there, was there in the front during the Nevada roll call. So, Norfolk State has a lot to be proud of, during this moment, and that we're playing a role in this part of history, in electing the first African-American South Asian woman that has to the presidency. But Virginia does have a special place. Yes, you have Senator Warner and Congressman Scott, but I've also seen Senator Warner. Senator Aaron Rouse is here, your next lieutenant governor, and so, who represents Virginia Beach in the state Senate. And so, Virginia has a very strong and powerful delegation that they did send, this year to the convention. And so, I think that they will bring back that energy to the ground and help turn out that vote so that Virginians will vote, for a Democratic presidential nominee yet again, that will help take us over the top.
It's Stay the Water. I'm your host, Dr. Eric Lavelle, and today we're talking with NSU alum and delegate to the DNC convention, Jasper Hendricks, as we have a conversation about In the Room, an interview about the DNC, also behind the scenes and the plan moving forward to win this election for the Democratic Party. Jasper, you mentioned there are a lot of other meetings that take place outside of the speeches. Now, the audience, we only see the stage. We see the United Center, the arena. We see the major speeches that are taking place, and we see the pomp and circumstance, and we see the excitement. But that's just a buildup to what really the real work is taking place. Tell us about what the real work is and how the ground game is being prepared for, not just the Commonwealth of Virginia, but across to California and every state in between.
Well, so every state, we start off with breakfast every morning at 7:30. So there's a 7:30 breakfast with your state delegations to discuss business. And then we have special guest speakers. At 9 o'clock, we were transported via bus with Secret Service protection to the McCormick Center, where we had caucus meetings of all of the states. Because in each hotel, there's a certain number of states that are at each hotel. But at 9:30, we all come together at the convention center. Here, we come together in the convention center and discuss different businesses related to different caucuses. And so that means the Black Caucus, the AAPI Caucus, the Hispanic Caucus, the Rural Caucus, the Women's Caucus, the Small Business Caucus, the Ethnic Council, the local elected officials. Like, there's so many different committees that make up the Democratic Party. And so those different groups meet every day between 9:30 and 3 p.m. And so then after 3 p.m., then we get on the shuttle and we're transported to another venue, which has been the United Center, and where we sit, where we would listen to the speeches that you all see in prime time. And so So we have a very full schedule. It's not a day of partying, for 5 days. It's actually days of handling business because the items that we discuss are discussed so that we can create a party platform, so that we can say we are for or against certain issues, or policies or whatever the case may be. And so our days are pretty much, you have to stay at a particular hotel with your delegation. You have to ride on the shuttle. You have to do and it's really because of our protection.
Yeah. Now, when you talk about the issues and the ground game, what are some of the major issues that the DNC is looking to pretty much run this ticket on?
I think so. I was talking to the president of the National Education Association the other night, and I thought her speech on Sunday night, I go to sleep thinking about that speech. I dream about that speech because when she was talking about the need that we want all of the things for our children in public education, which means we need all of the funding, so that children, that young people are guaranteed,
yes,
the best education possible. We need all of the tools, in order for them to be successful in life, and so education is in the top of the ticket. The economy is in the top of the ticket. The current under President Biden, we have the strongest economy in the world. Inflation is at a low. No matter what other people are saying, things are much better under President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris than we have been in the last several years. And so what we, I guess, so in the economy you have, I think we've touched on housing, and the need to build more housing so that the price of housing can go down in certain areas. We also talked about, the fact that the way to get ahead, you don't talk negative about people. So what that means is that understanding that we are here, together, occupying space for a limited time. And so, how you treat people really do matter. And so, so I think that, I think, but we cannot forget, though, that the theme of the campaign is freedom. That is the campaign song. That is the theme. It's the freedom to choose, or the freedom to be able to have the ability for you to decide as a woman, not necessarily you, Eric. I'm not talking about you, but I'm just saying I'm talking to the audience.
Right.
That you as a woman, should have the choice to make decisions for your health that you and your doctor and your God, come up with. It's not the place of anyone else. It's the freedom to be able to love who you want to love, and who you love. And, and then Virginia is a special place with that, with Loving versus Virginia. It was against the law for interracial marriages. Yeah. At a certain point, until the Supreme Court decided differently. And so, I think, you're going to have those top points. And so it's about being kind to each other and one another and allowing grace, not being negative and nasty, and because that's not really the way to get things done. You just create more confusion at that point, and nothing will be solved.
Jasper, the one thing that I saw during the convention, I saw, number one, the size of the audience. And of course, as former President Obama talked about, he said there's been a lot of talk about size, right? Which was a tongue in cheek that he did. But what I saw in the audiences, in comparing and contrasting the RNC and the DNC, was that the DNC looked more like all of America, whereas the RNC looked like a section of America. you mentioned a lot of issues surrounding what a lot of different Americans are dealing with. How did the DNC keep everyone under what we call the big tent of diversity?
I mean, it's really practicing diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's about allowing people space to heal, allowing people space to talk and discuss things. It's, it really is about allowing a child to express, themselves, or, letting people express themselves. So, it's just that.
Because you have so many different interests, whereas, in with the RNC, there's only a couple of interests that are there, right? Maybe several, but in the DNC, under that big tent of diversity, you have this group that wants this group wants that, and then you also have competing factions, whereas some people believe there should be a ceasefire, others don't. When we take a look at what's happening in Gaza, so it's amazing to see how the message of hope and freedom was still there. Speaking of hope and freedom, when you look at the word freedom, the other side seems to have had a monopoly on that word. And it seems that the Democrats are now taking that word back. When we talk about freedom in the Democratic sphere, what freedoms are you referring to?
It's the freedom of reproductive health care. It's your freedom of, being able to vote. It's your freedom of, of being able to work at certain places. It's the freedom of being who you are. So I think that's the freedom that that is being discussed.
Awesome. Now, let's talk about the youth, because another thing that I saw in the DNC audience was a lot of young people, and not just young, but diverse young people. I saw white males and females. I saw black males and females. I saw individuals from every part of the world that's represented here in the country that was in the audience, and they were ready, fired up, as Edith Child said, fired up and ready to go. How important is the youth vote and participation in this election? And more specifically, how is the DNC capturing that youthful energy and putting it to work?
Well, the youth vote is extremely important. All votes are important. Now, what the DNC is doing, like this year at the convention, there's an influencer section, so they have their own sort of press area on the ground in which they have direct access to elected officials to be able to talk with them around, different initiatives. And so I think that, what was the second question that you had?
Yeah. Well, how is the DNC working really to keep, put this energy to work, this youthful energy? What are some of the initiatives you guys are doing there?
I mean, we're, doing a lot, like we're registering to vote. I host events at my home in Nashville, in which, it's either to raise awareness or raise campaign contributions, for people who are running for office. We also need to be able to reach young people and ask them what it is that they would like, or what they think, will help get elected, help get people out to vote in elections. Because it's important for young people to know that, your voting for your congressperson is just as important as voting for your local, school board member. So that's something we need to actually do.
Absolutely. So in our last few moments, because I know you're giving us a call and you're still in Chicago even after the convention. And I know that you're fired up and ready to go and get on the ground. We've got people who are listening to us and saying, yeah, I registered to vote. I'm going to go out and vote. I can't wait for early voting to start because I'm going to vote early, especially here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. But I want to do more. What can the average listener that's listening to you right now, listening to us, that they faithfully do, what can they do to get involved in this election right now?
So I think you can go to Kamala Harris's website, and be able to look and see what events are happening in your area. But then also, sign up to host a Swati Legend burger. But I think that allowing people to be able to identify what it would take to move, other people within their within their demographic, whether it's age or ethnicity, will be key.
Absolutely. Everyone, this is Jasper Hendricks, delegate for the state of Tennessee, but NSU alum and Virginia native, at the DNC, joining us to talk about what took place behind the scenes, and how to get involved. My good friend, NSU alum, Mighty Spartan, I appreciate you so much for being a part of this very important discussion, but I can't let you go until you until I ask you this question. So, do you think the Democrats will win Tennessee and Virginia?
I don't know about Tennessee, but I do believe that they're going to make a good effort in North Carolina. But also, there are a couple of congressional seats that were just created, within a minority congressional district. So we will get a jump, so the makeup of Congress will change, for certain, but how much of that change will be is yet to come. And so, I should say yet to be seen. And so, so we have, people just need to understand we have a lot of work to do, in the next 75 days.
Wow. And
that and it's important for us to encourage everyone to vote.
That's right. Make sure you register to vote. Get out there. Make sure your voice is heard, because this is a very important election. So what's next for Jasper Hendricks?
I don't know.
I mean, will we see her name on the ballot pretty soon?
No, I don't think so. But, I enjoy working with the minority leader here in Tennessee. I also am working with, a couple of other people, so yeah, so it's good. But being in Nashville, I'm living the dream, so.
Well, look, you're doing great, and you're being a mighty Spartan, which is exactly what we do and what we train for people here to do. But once again, I appreciate you for joining us to tell us a little bit about behind the scenes at the DNC. As a matter of fact, for those of you that want to go out and learn more about this election, go to is it Harris for President? Harris Walls? What's the website again?
No, it's KamalaHarris.com.
All right, KamalaHarris.com.
Yeah,
go out, take a look, and also not just take a look at the website, but get involved. Jasper mentioned looking at the national website, but he also mentioned important elections that are local. We've got important elections here at Hampton Roads that are very important. We got mayor races. We also have other council members on the seat. And not only that, but also up and down the ballot box. We got the president. We got the U.S. Senate, which, by the way, Norfolk State is the
congressional races.
The congressional races. Every congressional seat is up for re-election. And I'll close with NSU is the only institution to secure the only U.S. Senate debate for the Commonwealth of Virginia between Senator Tim Kaine, and his challenger, Hung Kao, here in Norfolk. Nowhere else in the Commonwealth, here at NSU. That's the NSU value. That is the green and gold standard. And this is Stay the Water. I'm your host, Dr. Eric LaVille. Thank you again for joining us. And as always, be good, be great, and we'll see you next week.
Hi, I'm Carrie Washington, and you're listening to State of the Water with award-winning host, Dr. Eric LaVille.